Annyeonghaseyo, welcome to the land of Korean cinema. Not so long ago I reviewed the romantic series Something in the Rain, and one of my viewers, Gary, big shout out to Gary, said that if I enjoyed that, then I should watch One Spring Night or Pom Pam. So I did. The show stars Jung Hae-in, Han Ji-min, Joon-han, Gil Hae-yeon, and many others. Han Ji-min plays a woman in her 30s. She's in a long-term but unsatisfying relationship and her parents are pushing her to get married. One day she walks into a pharmacy where she meets a good-looking pharmacist played by Jung Hae-in. The chemistry is almost instant between them, but since she's already taken, they're trying their best not to fall in love. Before I continue with the review, I just want to say that if you enjoy my content, hitting the subscribe button would be of major help. And if you feel like throwing $1 at my way, you can find a link to my PayPal in the description. Thank you so much. As I started watching this show, I couldn't help but get serious Something in the Rain vibes. Half the cast plays in both shows. Here's Jung Hae-in, Gil Hae-yeon, Man-seok, who was my secret favorite in Something in the Rain, Joo Min-kyung, who's my secret favorite in this show, and if that wasn't enough, both shows have the same writer and director. The situation the main characters find themselves in is very similar too. Both shows deal with a relationship that is not approved by the people around them. But the reasons are different. In Something in the Rain, the problem was that Jung Hae-in was younger than his girlfriend, and he came from a broken family. This time he has a kid, he's a single parent, and people instantly judge him because of that, despite not knowing the circumstances. And because of that, I think One Spring Night has more of a universal appeal. Single parents are kind of frowned upon everywhere in the world, to different extent of course, but a single parent's life is not easy, no matter where he or she lives in the world. The social stigma is there. People instantly think you're a failure, or that something must be very wrong with you. Add to that the fact that Han Ji-min's character is just a step away from being engaged, and you can imagine how hard it is for them to actually be together. Especially because it's the parents who are actually pushing the marriage. For personal reasons, and because of the way Korean society is structured. Both One Spring Night and Something in the Rain tackles things that are, for lack of a better word, problems in Korean society. Their standards and ethics are a lot more strict than in the West, which can be both a good and a bad thing. I'm not here to pass judgment, I'm just saying it's different. And I actually really appreciate both shows for being brave enough to point out some things which might need to be changed in the future. Actually, one of the reasons why I enjoyed both shows was because of this pretty heavy-handed social commentary. And even though the shows critique South Korea specifically, a lot of these problems are universal. So there's a lot of food for thought in these shows, for sure. One other thing I really appreciated was the behavior of the main characters. Obviously they meet quite a lot of times while Han Ji-min is trying to get rid of her partner. With no success. The man is very persistent. But no matter how much they clearly like each other, they're very respectful of the situation they're in. Meaning, they don't even touch each other for a long time. When they sit down in the park to talk, they sit on separate benches. They see each other across the street, they call each other on the phone, but they don't get physically close to each other. As long as Han Ji-min is technically in a relationship, they don't do anything questionable. I loved how the show dealt with that. It's probably needless to say that the performances are really good. Despite just having seen Jung Hae-in in a very similar show, he's playing such a different character now that I forgot I'm watching an actor, and I only saw his character. Han Ji-min absolutely blew my mind in the movie Miss Back, and once again, she's very good. Gil Hae-yeon is slowly becoming one of my favorite Korean actresses, and finally she's playing a positive character. I've only seen her playing villainish characters before this. It was so refreshing to see a more positive side of her, but my secret favorite in the show was Joo Min-kyung. I've seen her in quite a lot of shows, but this is easily her best performance. She plays the younger sister of Han Ji-min and she has a very bright personality. She's also very forward-thinking, and she's a ray of sunshine. She brings a lot of levity to this show. But somewhere near the end she had a very serious, dramatic scene, and that's when I was like, she's basically stealing the whole show here. She was awesome. If you saw my review for Something in the Rain, then you know that one of my problems with it was the editing and the storytelling. The first half of that show is very choppy, it didn't really flow well. One Spring Night is much more consistent, it flows much better. Despite all the countless side stories, which annoyed me quite a bit in the beginning, but all these little stories are connected to the main characters one way or another, which I thought was really clever. And it allows for a lot of side characters to actually have character arcs. There's lots of character development in the show, a lot of characters grow and evolve, which I definitely did not expect, but it all makes for an entertaining watch. I also have to mention Kim Joon-han as Han Ji-min's boyfriend. I was very surprised to see that the creators did not make him out to be an asshole. He's actually a pretty decent guy. He's not abusive, he's not rude, it's just that the chemistry between him and Han Ji-min doesn't work. He's actually supposed to be a sort of villain here, and he does get a little obsessive later. But he stays really decent for most of the time, which I thought was great. Now, the reason I usually don't find romantic shows interesting is the fact that they can be painfully cheesy. Something in the Rain was a refreshing exception. However, One Spring Night definitely has a lot more cheesy moments, a lot more cheesy dialogue, which I wasn't really fond of. I also think that Jung Hae-in and Son Ye-jin had better chemistry in Something in the Rain than Jung Hae-in has with Han Ji-min here. Actually, I didn't really think they had any chemistry in the first episode, and I didn't buy for 1 second that they were attracted to each other. That all changed in the second episode when they're sitting at a cafe having some tea. That's a really awkward and funny scene, and from that point on, it worked really well. But I still think that they're falling for each other a little too fast. Also, a lot of the dialogue is purposefully written about the two main characters. I mean, other characters get together and all they do is talk about the main characters, even when some characters are having a lot more serious problems than that. I thought it was a bit heavy-handed here and there. And lastly, while I absolutely didn't hate the ending, I also didn't love it. While there's definitely something celebratory about the last episode, it also left a lot for me to be desired. The show doesn't go out with a bang, it just walks away in the sunset, you know what I mean? But overall, I really enjoyed the acting, the social commentary, and the characters. If you loved Something in the Rain, then you'll love One Spring Night as well. And I'm gonna give it 75%. I could do without the cheesy parts, not a big fan of the ending, and the pacing also could be better here and there. But the good definitely outweighs the bad. If you're a romantic drama fan, you know what to do. 여러분, 오늘은 여기까지만 해요. 영상 봐주셔서 감사합니다. 이 영상 좋아하시면 구독과 좋아요 잘 부탁드립니다. See you very soon. 다음 시간에 만나요 여러분. 안녕히 계세요.